Hi! I just finished up all of my October cake classes, so I thought I would show you what all of the prep and cleanup looks like for a cake class. Obviously, the first step is going to be baking cake layers, so I have 10 to 12 people in a class, which means I have to bake 20 to 24 cake layers. And then I always need 2 extras for my demo cake, but I reuse those. So here, once they've cooled off, I'm just trimming off the tops. I save those for cakesicles. And then those usually get frozen or refrigerated before it's time to crumb coat all of them. There are a couple reasons why I don't have class attendees crumb coat their own cakes. Mostly it's because cakes have to be refrigerated between the crumb coat and the final coat, and I think it would be really hard to keep track of whose cake is who while they're in the fridge, and then you just kind of have some downtime where everyone is just sitting there, so I just do that for them. I also think it's the easiest thing to practice at home with the least amount of equipment, so I feel like they're not really missing out. No one's ever really seemed to have a problem with it. Honestly, I think most people are excited when they find out they don't have to crumb coat the cake, because that is just like one step taken care of. Everyone has the same nice clean base. That step usually takes about an hour. Then I prep the table, so I just have this huge roll of butcher paper, and it's the perfect size for my table, so I just tape them down. My back always hurts from doing this. Then I like to get everything set out for the attendees. So we have turntables, little bowls for the frosting, offset spatula scrapers. I put all the chairs down. And once I have that step done, I feel like it's just a huge sigh of release. And then I feel like I can keep it moving with all my other random little prep. But I always just feel so much better once the tables are done. Here, I'm just prepping all the piping bags. So I just cut off the ends, throw all my tips in there, and then I get more buttercream going in there. I like to make the base color of frosting first and fill up all those little bowls. This base color was this really pretty light blue. I'm just adding blue and purple to get this final color. I distribute that evenly in all the bowls, so then those tables are all set up ready to go. Then it's time to start worrying about my other frosting colors and getting those bags that I prepped filled. So the first color I'm doing here is this really bright orange color for these little frosting pumpkins. Very Halloween-y. This is the part that I try really hard to prep as much as I can before the class, but sometimes I still end up prepping bags during the class because there is kind of a lot of time when people are just working and I have free time to just like finish up prep, basically. I just had enough time to prep orange before getting changed, redoing my hair, just freshening up a little bit before the class. These are all the rest of the bags that I prepped during the class. And this is some student work. Everyone did such a good job. I was really impressed by the text from this class. Okay, now it's time for cleanup. I always try to worry about the trash first, and then I kind of consolidate all of the dishes and worry about the big, longer tasks. But if you break it down piece by piece, it's really not that bad. You can see here I'm sanitizing all the turntables, and then I'm just taking the paper off. I'm an extrovert, so these classes really give me a lot of energy, which is honestly such a blessing. I always want to like go get drinks or something after I'm done cleaning up from a class, and everyone's like, MK, it's 9:30 on a weeknight. I'm not doing that. That's not gonna stop me from trying. Okay, the most tedious part of cleaning up is always the piping tips. So we get them all out of their bags into this little bowl, and then I basically rinse it like 100 times. I always reuse demo cakes for different classes, and that really scandalizes some people, but I don't know, why wouldn't I? At this point, all I really had left was the bulk of all the dishes, so this looks like a lot. In reality, it took me about 15 minutes total. It's like super fast forwarded, obviously, so it's a little misleading. The most annoying thing to wash is these little plastic scrapers because they hold on to grease really well, so you have to like scrub them with soap and water to really get them clean. I really don't mind doing dishes at all. I think it's kind of relaxing in some ways, but it is annoying when it's like the end of a long day. My back probably hurt, just old people problems. I sanitize all my dishes. I give all my tables one last wipe down and round of sanitizer. The last step is usually taking all of these little class specific dishes, and I just lay them all out to dry on this baking sheet. This is always so satisfying because I know my work is almost done. We're on the home stretch. We're almost there. After one final scan of the room, there's only one thing left to do, and that is a jump of joy. Bye! have an extremely special, very dramatic, very gorgeous Halloween cake to show you. I've never had like content cakes lying around waiting to be used, but I did have this one cake for a different project that's just been sitting in my fridge for a long time, and I decided she has now become my content cake. One of my favorite color combinations of all time is black and deep magenta, maroon, red, pink. I really love deep colors, and pairing them with black just really makes them pop so much more. Every time I pipe florals on a cake, especially on the sides of the cake, people absolutely love it. So I definitely wanted to incorporate that. I am using vanilla buttercream dyed black for this cake because no one's going to actually eat it, but if this were for a real client, I would definitely pipe this in chocolate ganache because it would be way less dye. Ganache also tends to have a much smoother, shinier finish, but I do think that this buttercream really pulled through. It was also the perfect temperature, which does make a huge difference. I'm still obsessed with these column style cake designs. I think that the little picture window concept is so beautiful. I've been thinking about how I really want to try to make an aquarium version. I think a celestial version would also be really gorgeous with like stars and moons and planets. If you have other ideas, I would love to hear that. I did a reverse shell border on this cake instead of my regular shell border because I feel like it looks a little bit more traditional, and I just wanted to take everything to the max with this design. I didn't want a single inch of empty space. Okay, finally it's time to pull some of those colors in, and as per usual, this fluorescent lighting is doing me dirty. I need you to stay until the end when you can see the actual shot in daylight because these colors look so different. Speaking of Halloween, I did my whole costume and everything last weekend, and then I realized we kind of get 2 Halloween this year, so I was thinking, what can I pull together at last minute? Being married, I now have a wedding dress in my closet for access at all times, and being a procrastinator, it's still not dry cleaned, which is maybe disgusting, but like, I don't know, what if I want to use it again for something? I paid a lot of money for that dress. I want to get my use out of it. So I thought, oh my gosh, I could be the bride of Frankenstein and I can make my husband dress up as Frankenstein. Unfortunately, I did not have enough time this year to pull that together, but I think that will be high on my list next year when we're coming up with costumes. Anyways, I wanted to make some separate roses to go on the top of the cake, so I'm doing that here with my little piping nail. I've gotten so much better at these in the past year-ish. So I just cranked some of those out, and then while they were cooling down in the freezer, I decided to just add a few more details onto the cake. There was too much empty space. I'm not into it. Let's add some more fun stuff. I love a perfect little delicate bead border. It just really is the perfect little detail. It really draws your eye in. And then I just added some more little ornate fluff. Again, no empty space. I was looking at the top of the cake and just had a ding light bulb moment of doing this fishnet kind of texture on top. I've only done this a couple times. It looks so gothic and cool. It's the perfect Halloween detail. I'm so glad I found a way to incorporate it in the cake. I do wish I had thought of it before doing that top border because it's kind of hard to get the edges clean. But the nice thing about that is that you can just add another border, which is what I ended up doing. By that time, my roses were nice and cooled and hard in the freezer. So pulled those out, just position them on nicely in little clusters. Adding some additional little ones to the mix just creates a lot more visual interest. I also just think it's so satisfying to do and watch. It's just the perfect little detail. I finished up with some leaves to tie it all together, have some continuity from the sides. We've reached the end. I hope you're excited for the final glamour shots, and I'm gonna shut up so that you can really fully appreciate them. I hope you have a super fun, happy, safe Halloween. Bye!